Yo yo, it's episode 49 of Bonfire Man. Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough. So today our new chunk is the Exam Center, which is not super exciting, but there is stuff to do there. So let's go ahead and head to the chunk border. Need to have this like sidebar in for the effect to work. Here we go. Here we go. Music track Venture. And let's light the bonfire. Excellent. And of course, as always, we have to rest at it. There we go. All right, everything has respawned in other areas. All right, so the dig site. Let's talk about what's going on here. So the dig site Exam Center is going to be a somewhat exciting chunk once we unlock Herblore. Until then, there's not too much new to do here. It's all things we've seen before. Oak trees, willow trees, regular trees, that kind of a thing. Here's the list of tasks on the right here. Dead trees, regular trees, oaks, and willows we've done before. Really, the only new thing that's here is a fishing/mining node called a panning point, which, according to my research, we can interact with without completing the dig site. It has really bad loot. It occasionally produces opals and jades, which we already have access to from ham members. A couple other things that we can already get elsewhere, and I guess technically gold nuggets, and not the gold nuggets from Motherlode Mine, but something you can redeem for gold ore, I think. So I think there's an argument to be made that the panning point is not a new resource node, and that this should be a chunk in which we skip the bonfire. Obviously, we can't complete it because we don't meet the requirement for the dig site quest. We don't have a high enough Herblore level for it. I might, in one universe, argue that we should be able to re-roll this because the panning point, who cares? It's like 1 XP per node. None of the items are new. I wouldn't feel comfortable making that argument because it is a new resource node and it is definitely exhaustible. And to make this less complicated, you might see this guy at the top that I haven't mentioned, the dig site workman. So this is actually a mistake that I made in a previous episode. When we previously rolled the actual dig site to the north of the exam center, I ended up calling that a reroll chunk on the argument that there was nothing new there, but it was because I misread. I don't know how it happened, but I did not realize that there were actually 7 dig site workmen up here that you can pickpocket, and I haven't been pickpocketing them ever since we rolled the dig site forever ago. And we'll just call the whole kind of messy situation about the panning point not really producing any new resources or any real amount of XP, we'll call that completely moot. Basically, I'm lighting the bonfire for both of these areas, and to make up for not lighting it when I got access to the dig site workmen before, because they are a level 25 pickpocketable NPC. They don't give a lot of XP, but they do have a different drop table than most things you can pickpocket, so we are going to pickpocket all 9 of them here in this cycle. The reality is we're just going to have a couple chunks like this where it just kind of sucks. We're going to get in here. It's going to be mostly not new, but I can't weasel my way out of what is essentially a new exhaustible resource. So let's go ahead and exhaust it. Let me figure out how panning works without having to do the dig site quest. This might have been why I got confused about them being a pickpocketable resource for whatever reason, because this game is goofy. It's steal from dig site workmen, not pickpocket. So I guess it didn't show up on my list of possible actions. Also, it takes bizarrely twice as long to pickpocket these guys as it does regular NPCs. Very odd. Steal an animal skull. That's one. I have to find the other one that spawns in this southern area. Here he is over here. 10 coins. Okay. Done. That is our new thing for the cycle, and the rest of it's going to be repeat content. I guess also technically the panning. Let's go ahead and pan. Nothing technically new. We're good over there, but it does generate 1 or 2 fishing XP. All right, so here's a panning point. I guess theoretically, once I 100% complete the exam center chunk, which is a very long time from now, because we have to get herblore unlocked and we have to build a hard stash and a bunch of other problems. But since this is a fishing node, I will be able to fish this 28 times per cycle per point, and there are 6 points. So that's potentially a lot of panning and a lot of panning rewards, which is kind of cool because I'm guessing nobody has ever really done that after this quest is done. Hey, you can't pan yet. Okay, why not? Don't allow the uninvited to pan here. How do I become invited? Do me a favor. What's that? I'd like a cup of tea. Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. I can go. One of the nodes I have to do is steal from a tea place. So I'm gonna go do that right now. One of the very few players in the history of RuneScape who has unlocked the ability to pan by giving that guy tea instead of just doing the dig site quest, because you trivially unlocked it because it requires like herblore 10, and it's a really good quest to do early. All right, stealing from the tea stall. There we go. I'll mark that as a task complete, and I'll go back and give it to the guy. All right, I'm back here to give a cup of tea to the panning guide. Can't beat a good cuppa. You're free to pan all you want. Okay, cool. I preemptively mark this, but obviously I haven't done it yet. Only pan one time, so I have to click off once I get something. How does this work? Search. Only plain mud. I think I have to deal with it if I only get mud. It's not until I get an item, right? Because I get the XP regardless. Got 2 fishing XP and 2 mining XP. Outstanding. Search. Only contains mud. Watch me get 6 pieces of mud. Most compelling cycle ever. Shiny cup. I think that's the one I need for the dig site quest. Mud. Sensing a pattern here. One more. I'm gonna go see if I can start the dig site quest. I think I can. I don't think I can do very much with it. Gold nuggets. Right on. Check how many of those you need to get gold ore, but I think it's actually a decent number. At least we got the one interesting, technically new resource that isn't really a new resource because you redeem it for a resource that I already have. Panning points are done. Let's see if I can start up the dig site quest. Let me add it to the list here. I also have to add, there's an easy stash and a hard stash. I'll be able to build the easy one, but not the hard one because I don't have teak planks. I'm waiting on getting those from Barbarian Assault Campbell's at some point. Oh, ignore these marked tasks over here, by the way. Those are not done. That's from last cycle. I got to clean this up still. I'm going to go ahead and add these as quests, although we don't actually have to complete them to complete the chunk anymore. So, but I'll leave them on there until we're able to qualify for all the quest prerequisites, in this case, herblore 10. Let's see. I think I can do the dig site until I get to the part where I have to use herblore, but we'll see if she just locks me off of it. One of your skill levels is too low, but they let me start it anyway. It's so weird that some of them let you do that and some of them definitely don't. Okay, well, I have to go back to Varrock Museum with this anyway, so let me see if I can do everything else here, which is basically just chopping trees and maybe picking up an item that's already on the ground. Looks like there are a couple inaccessible trees here. All of the trees back in this corner are not real. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a tree over there in that corner that's blocked by bushes, so I will not be able to chop those. Pathing on this hill is completely bizarre. I guess I am able to chop down this big tree, but I can't get to that tree. Oh, I can. Never mind. Okay, can I get to this one? I can't get to that one. I tried clicking on that one, and my character started running all the way down and around the hill. This one should be accessible from down here. Oh, but it's from the other chunk. That's interesting. I guess you can't walk on this, like, part of the hill for some reason. Weird. All right, well, this is kind of shit we discover in Bonfire Man. The time this playthrough is done, Jagex wanted to watch it. I could produce a full report of inaccessible trees if they wanted to delete them or make them non-choppable. Speaking of which, this is another unchoppable tree. I can't get around to the other side of that, it looks like. Possible. Well, maybe this one I can actually fit to. It would be really weird if I could get this one, but not that one. Oh, I can get there. All right, well, I gotta make arrow shafts. Actually, no, it appears I also can't get down to that tree. Just can't walk on these tiles. Whatever. All right. I probably can't get to that oak then. Let's see. Is it a decorative oak? No, I can get... Oh, wait. No. I cannot get to the oak. So technically only 4 oaks here. Man, this is a messy-ass chunk. This one also appears to be inaccessible. There's just no way to path around the side of this... Yeah, specimen tree. It keeps moving my click location. I think I can do this tree, and the willow, and then I'm basically done. I'll check the specimen tray here in a second. All right, that's the last tree I just chopped down. The only other thing I can do is get a specimen jar, which I guess is from... I already have one from the sacks out here in the dig site proper, but I think there's another one to pick up in the exam center, there's like a cabinet you can open that has one in it. I don't think I can do anything with this. I'm on an errand. Okay, well, I have to come back for that anyway if I'm going to try to progress dig site as far as I can. I think it's this cupboard I have to search. There we go, specimen jar. All right, I'm done. I got my panning tray and my specimen jar. I guess technically I need to build this easy stash, so I'll do that when I come back. Yeah, I have to build this easy stash here. So I'll do that when I come back and work through as many steps as I can of the dig site quest. Start working on that now. All right, I got my letter stamped. I'm actually really curious, like, there are some quests where you get to a certain point in the quest and that's what unlocks being able to do stuff. So it would be really, really excellent if just partial completion lets me clean finds, but I don't think that's the case. This would be an awesome chunk roll if it did, but I think you have to complete the dig site quest to do that. Oh, this is a little spooky. You have to pickpocket workmen until you get a animal skull, which fortunately I have, and a specimen brush, which I do not have, but I have 7 more to pickpocket up here in the actual dig site area, so I'm going to start doing that, and I'll mark them when I pickpocket them once. Hopefully I get one. I guess it's good that I can't complete the quest, because that would really suck. I guess I've made the rule that, like, exhaustion is suspended during quests already. It hasn't applied yet, but I've mentioned that at least once. But here, I guess, since I can't actually finish the quest, I'm just not going to violate my normal rule. Oh, we got it. Okay. Phew. I guess while I'm doing it, I'm just going to pickpocket everybody else. Why not? I'm lucky I got the animal skull early because I only got 1. All right, that's all 9 of them. Got the special cup, fortunately, so I'm going to give that to this guy. Glad I was able to get that before actually starting the quest. I should have been a little bit worried about that. I haven't had to do this quest in a while. I forgot you have to keep running back and forth to just talk to them with no new, like, skill challenges or anything. I need to go grab an opal and come back. I'll do that in a second. All right, here we go. Build inconspicuous bush. That's technically the last thing I can actually do in the dig site, but I'm going to go ahead and progress the quest until I can't any further. My understanding is that you need to complete the whole quest to be able to do cleaning finds, but at the same time, you get your level 3 certificate before doing the part with herblore. And I'm wondering if that's enough. I don't think it is. The wiki doesn't say that you can do it with partial completion. Yeah, it says I can dig wherever I want now. Perhaps you should use your newfound skills to find an artifact on the dig site that will impress the expert. I think you still get a final, like, certificate at the very end. Maybe that's what you have to show them in Varrock to clean finds, but I'm going to keep going as far as I can here. Oh, here's an interesting point. I double screwed up over here because each of these soil tiles you can dig with a trowel. Oops. Let me make sure I mark them all appropriately. But yeah, I think I can do literally every tile here. I think on the plus side, it wasn't possible for me to do this when I first got the dig site because you have to have the trowel and you have to have advanced the dig site quest. So, but it was another reason why this should have been a bonfire. I should have lit a bonfire when I rolled this chunk. I guess I'm just going to keep doing. I'm going to mark every single soil tile. Ooh, okay, I got the talisman before running out of soil spots. But you get like 8 XP. I mean, it's not a lot. You get 8 mining XP for each tile you do this on. And there's a lot of tiles in the area. So I guess I'm going to go through and do all of them. I think most of the stuff you get is complete garbage, but hey, why not? Oh, it looks like I can get damaged armor from doing this, which is actually pretty significant because I can turn that into plate bodies, which I can turn into bars for the Giant's Foundry. So it's going to be annoying to go through all of that soil, especially now that I have to do it every cycle since I can't complete. This is a blocked chunk because I can't get to all the trees in it. Well, maybe I can now. I should double check that now that I can come at it from the south because I don't think unlocking Mauritania is going to let me get any further. I might be able to get around this wall now and make this a 100% completed chunk, which means that I could skip doing the soil if I want to, but we'll look into it. Apparently these specimen trays also can be searched for mining XP, which makes them exhaustible resources. I did get a charcoal on the second one. That one didn't produce anything. Yeah, this is wild. There's way more here than I thought there was. Also, I think I can now that I have this southern chunk, I can complete the actual dig site surface because these were the trees that I couldn't get to before. I'm just going to walk all the way up here and make sure there's not anything else that I'm obviously missing. Yeah, that seems to be it. Just these trees here. So we will finish this and then I'm going to go ahead and dig every piece of soil in order to mark this chunk complete. And then I will probably not do that again because I think it's a pretty low reward for the hassle. But okay, I think I'm rapidly approaching the part where I'm going to get stopped by herblore. Picking up like a root. Their music track for coming down here. If I recall correctly, this or one of these areas has, you get agility from going up and down that? Oh my god. Well, I don't want to abuse that, obviously. I believe one of these areas has like silver ore. Yeah, it's through here. Mine silver rocks. But I can't get to them because that's going to require the herblore step to blow up the rock. Moment of truth has arrived. Are they going to let me in here? Or are they going to say, you need to finish dig site? Oh, so painful. So painful. At least I advanced the quest far enough to be able to dig in the soil. That was important. While I'm walking back here with my items, I'm like, how did I miss all of these soil nodes? And it's because they're not on the chunk picker, and they don't show as a node, right? When you right-click on them, you have to note to mark them as an object. So I'll reach out to the chunk picker person. That's probably the bigger mistake than, you know, the dig site workmen, because there's so many of them. And that might actually have been impactful earlier in the run. Not that I could have dug there anyway without getting to, you know, the dig site quest, but still good to know that they're there. I'll just have to guess what the count is because it's impossible to tell without chunk picker. I love stuff like this, having to use a trowel to pry open this barrel. It's wonderful. You need to have an herblore level of 6 or over to mix this liquid. Okay, we're officially blocked. I am done with the exam center chunk as much as I can be. I have to do a bunch of digging up here at the dig site proper so I can 100% complete that chunk. But before I do that, let's talk about the objectives overview for the episode. All right, folks, let's talk about the chunk map and the goals for this episode. There is a time code in the description to skip this. Let's start by talking about 100% completed chunks. These are chunks in which we've exhausted everything there is to do at least one time. 2 changes since last episode. Castle Wars I previously marked as a chunk blocked chunk, but in fact you can't get to any of the content on the edges of that chunk anyway. It's literally just the instance, so that is a 100% completed chunk. The dig site is about to move from being a chunk blocked chunk to a 100% completable chunk this episode. Note that there is the dig site dungeon underneath the dig site, but we track subsurface and surface chunks separately. We have 2 reasons to want to 100% complete chunks. The first reason is that all content in these chunks is optional on future cycles. For example, I'm going to be able to skip all of the regular trees in the dig site chunks starting next cycle. The other benefit is that exhaustion works differently for a handful of skills in 100% completed chunks only. Woodcutting, fishing, thieving, mining, and agility are all slightly easier to train in these chunks, and shop stocks in these chunks refresh once per cycle. As far as changes for these perks, you'll notice the dig site workman is now listed in the pickpocketing section. Since we're going to 100% complete the dig site this cycle, next cycle we'll be able to pickpocket each of the dig site workmen in that chunk 28 times each. It's going to be worth a whopping 1,965 thieving XP every 50 hours or so. Thieving is truly one of the most bizarre skills in RuneScape. So after talking about 100% completed chunks, we have to talk about chunks that we cannot 100% complete. The first are quest blocked chunks. We can't do these because there is exhaustible content that is blocked by a quest. The most significant quest block chunks right now are both in Varrock. We have to finish up the dig site to clean finds there, which would let us complete 2 chunks. I'm probably going to change these chunks over into being skill blocked next cycle because we have everything we need to do to complete the dig site. The only thing we need now is herblore levels, so it'll be an herblore locked chunk. Next up are skill blocked chunks. We need 82 construction to build master stashes, 50 and 70 agility to run rooftop courses in Falador and Poldemneach, 100 combat to complete the veteran lander at pest control. That pest control problem is actually going to change my strategy with skilling. I was planning to switch to range very soon after getting my attack and defense up, but I kind of want to stay on attack, strength, and defense until we get combat 100 just to unlock that so that as many future cycles as possible can benefit from lots of pest control points. I looked at a combat level calculator, and I think if I take attack and defense to 80, that should be just enough. So it's going to be a while until we get onto ranged finally, but I'm going to have plenty of adamant arrows by that point. The other skill blocked chunks listed here are quest prerequisites. We just need to reach the skill prerequisites for quests to complete these chunks. We don't actually need to do the quests that are contained there. That's 40 Slayer for Rag and Bone Man 2 in Silvaria, and then just unlock. As soon as we unlock Herblore, I'm going to be like level 50 plus Herblore immediately from just my banked herbs. And you know, to that end, since it's very much true that any chunk that's blocked by Herblore is actually just blocked by the South Taverley chunk, it might make sense to update these to chunk blocked chunks. Maybe I'll do that next episode. On the subject of skills, Slayer is still blocked by a Desert Lizard task that I can't complete. I need to roll one of these 3 red chunks to be able to kill them. Next up, item blocked chunks. I need a bird snare and a big fishing net to finish the Soul Isle. And there's only a few chunk blocked chunks left over. These are chunks where we can't do everything because there's something on the border that I can't reach. And that concludes our objectives overview. Let's get back to the playthrough. All right, so my big objective is to finish up the dig site chunk up to the north from the exam center so that I can mark it as a completed chunk. However, I'm probably going to get pulled away to a couple shooting stars here, so I'm going to get ready for that. I'll check in as I'm doing the digging and let you know if anything interesting happens, and I'm sure I'll show you all of the marked soil once it's finally done. This is actually pretty great. I got Source Chunk runs Chunk Picker V2 to add soil to the dig site. Thank you, Source Chunk, for doing that so fast. 123 level 1 soils, 170 level 2 soils, 106 level 3 soils. Thank God I can actually finish the surface chunk, because I'm not going to want to do that every cycle. That's a lot of tasks, but let's go do it now. You might be surprised how many of these are actually accessible. Even the ones under the skeleton you can do. So cracking the clue 3 has not yet been solved beyond the parts I already have, the hat, the robe bottom, and the boots, but I would bet money that one of these useless items from the dig site, maybe the belt buckle, is used in one of the other steps. We'll see. Although it might have to be free to play only, so if that's the case, that wouldn't be allowed. Trying to do all the level 3 finds first. There's some weird behavior here, like for some reason the game suggests that this is a level 2 find rather than a level 3. I guess they zoned it weirdly. It demands you use a rock pick here, but not in the rest of this little cage here. According to the wiki, the ceramic remains, the old teeth, most of this is junk, the belt buckles, so I'm just gonna throw them all on the ground, but I will keep everything else. Oh, that's even weirder. It's based on where you're standing. So if you stand outside of dig site 3 and then try to dig here, it treats it as dig site 2, but as long as you're in here, this actually counts as soil 3. That's funny. The thing that would make me want to do this every cycle is the broken armors, to be honest. Those are pretty huge. Each one is potentially 4 bars at the Giant's Foundry, and I'm so limited in how many bars I can get per cycle. I guess technically the broken leg piece too is worth, I think, 2 bars. I wanted to sanity check Source Chunk's numbers, and it does seem to be correct. You can see you dig through the earth 105 times. This will be number 106, and Chunk Picker V2 now says there's 106 level 3 soils. So I'll definitely give an overview of all the stuff we found. Most of this is garbage, except for the broken armor. The broken armor is all actually really good. Everything else is trash, though. I can maybe see myself doing this if I'm allowed to take advantage of fungibility on a future cycle, where I could just, mine the same tile 106 times. That might be worth doing, but right now it really sucks when you have to go tile to tile. All right, so the level 2 soil I think is actually better for me. The level 3 soil is a 1 in 20 chance to get broken armor, and this one has fewer things on the list. It also spawns jades and I think opals, which are pretty good. So yeah, broken armor here is more like a 1 in 16. So that's what we're here for. I guess opals, jades, and armors. Fortunately for my sanity, there's a different chat message for the rock pick. You dig through the earth. So that should help me keep track and make sure that I do the exact right number of nodes here. But yeah, see, it says to use your trowel because I'm standing in the wrong spot, but if I stand here, then it works. That's so silly. This actually isn't too bad in terms of resources. I mean, it's bad, but having a renewable source of opals and jades, and potentially, I'm going to give a report on how many damaged armors I have, and I'll go take exactly those numbers into the POH to repair them so I can let you know how many bars I effectively get out of this, because I'm really interested to see what this does for me in Giant's Foundry, right? This is potentially worth a lot of extra smithing XP, depending. It might not be. We'll see. Right now, I'm only throwing out the items that are literally useless, like broken glass, but I'll probably in the future throw out anything that's not an armor. I guess maybe I'll hold on to the broken staff so you can repair them too. It's probably not worth it, but it's slightly more useful. But I'll probably toss like the boots and the jugs and the pots and the bowls. All right, looks like the count for level 2 soil is also correct. That's 170 down there, and we're getting there. We still have to do the level 1s in the training, so I'm gonna go deposit this stuff now. Getting pulled away from the riveting experience of sifting through 500 soil nodes to start my first shooting star here. I'm gonna get some editing done. Finished up that shooting star, back to working on soil for a bit. We're on the level 1 soil, which is less good. Most exciting thing we can get is a rusty sword, which is not as good as rusty armor or rusty leggings. And I guess if I were to do this in the future, I would probably only do the level 2 and maybe level 3 digs. I guess you can get copper ore here, which is somewhat useful. I mean, it's probably not worth all the time it would take to go through all of these every cycle, but it's better than nothing, I guess. All right, got a genie. Thank you, sir. You are going on agility as is the case right now. Till 47. Stepped away from soil again for another shooting star. Unfortunately, somebody happened to be passing by to Mage Training Arena and then called in 2 of their friends, so I got a little bit less than an hour on this one. Just did the last piece of soil for tier 1, and the count is right, 229 combined. Since it's using a trowel, it has the same text down here. So it looks like the chunk picker is correct. This is what we look like. I still need to go through and do the training, which is, there's nothing good that comes from down here at all, so I just need to do it to 100% complete the chunk. For what appears to be no reason when you do the training digs, there's no tracker down on the bottom. I'll just have to be really careful. I'm going to add these into my overall gold tracker as an optional thing I can do. First pit is done. The only thing arguably useful you can get from these ones is charcoal. Sometimes comes up in quests, but everything else is pretty useless. I'm just going to drop them here. This is the last tile. There we go. All right. Look at all that. It looks like grain. That was like 500 something total nodes, but I've checked all of them. We still have to like cut the trees here, and I think there might be a couple other things I need to do to mark the dig site complete. All right, let me try to show you what we all got from doing that. So 10 opals, 15 damaged armors. That's actually crazy. That's up to 60 bars in the Giant's Foundry if they all turn into... Now, a lot of them will degrade or turn into black armor, but... Probably going to take those into my POH really quick. Just 15 of these, and then the 8 rusty swords, 15 broken leg pieces. See how much I get so I can tell you exactly how many bars that's worth. 10 copper ore is not bad given how little copper I get per cycle. Yeah, I think I might need to do this. I might need to do at least 1, 2, and 3 and skip the training one. If I were to only do one of them, I'd probably just do the level 2 soil. There's a decent number of nodes there. I think it's like 170 nodes, the highest chance of getting plate bodies and plate legs. All right, repairing all this crap on my whetstone here. I believe gives smithing XP. Yeah. Pretty good haul on the plate bodies. It's about 44 bars into the Giant's Foundry, so that's sword and a half by itself just from the plate bodies. Doing the plate legs now. Which are only worth 2, so not as good. Finished with the, well, I'm about to be finished with the plate legs here, these last 3. And then we're going to do the swords, and I guess I'm going to do the staves too. They don't help me in Giant's Foundry, but I guess you can occasionally get elemental staves. Could alchem, I guess. Broken staff. Apparently are harder to fix. Staff of Earth. There's a small amount of crafting XP, it looks like. And I've also never repaired broken arrows before. That seems very uneconomical. I guess it technically gives you some fletching XP. Gives you 1 arrow at a time. I feel like they could change this to make it give you 100 arrows and people still probably wouldn't bother. I got a mithril arrow. All right, so here's the total plate body plus plate skirt payout here. You have the total number of bars, including the swords here in a second. Those are the swords. Swords didn't do quite as well, although it's longsword that I care about, right? And then staves, carrying the air staff, but I got 2 staves of earth, a staff of water, and then all this junk. And then arrows, just these 3. So a total of 64 bars worth of material from the plate legs and the plate bodies. So I think I should do that every cycle. It takes a long time, but that's a ton, man. 64, it's like 2.5 swords. It's really good. I just wanted to show how much I got just from doing the soil. So I'm going to go ahead and process the rest of my rusty swords and damaged armors that I had before this cycle, just to get them out of my bank. Already got a mithril plate body over here for my existing damaged armors. That's a pretty good deal. All right, y'all, I'm back here. You can see the task list on the right. Just going to chop all these trees so we can call the dig site actually done. Now, we can't do the dig site dungeon. That's going to require the quest. There's 19 skeletons and 10 silver ore down there, but we track surface chunks and subsurface chunks separately, so we should be fine. All right, got all the trees I had previously got in other cycles. Now I'm just going to get the ones over on the side here. I did completely confirm there is nothing in the Mauritania chunk, so I don't actually need that chunk to get to these. All right, this should be the last tree here. Let me just sanity check that I got the right number of logs. Yeah, 14 logs, 1 oak log. Victory achieved. The dig site is done. So that means that I can choose to not dig these in the future. Although, pretty attractive. I might still do at least the level 3 and the level 2 dirt, if not the level 1 dirt.
So I'm up super early on a Wednesday. There's an update about to happen here in 16 minutes. So I'm going to try to take this opportunity to go fight Calvarian. Hopefully it doesn't update while I'm fighting him. I am going to bring some strange fruit this time because run energy was a big problem last kill. All right, popping in. Let's see if anyone's in here. So 1250 world. Someone is in here. Even this early in the morning, this close to an update, I still can't escape other people trying it. I think I found one. Okay, got a kill. Not bad. I won't have to stress about that all cycle.
Untrainable drop.
Got excited when I heard untrainable drop, but it's an elite clue scroll. Not so exciting. Yeah, that might actually be one of his least interesting drops for me anyway. Made it with the system update too. Probably gonna want to go somewhere else really quick just to make sure that... Let's do a hop. I think that ensures I have a game save. Oh, so it's actually the Easter event. I've been doing every holiday event because I happen to have the right chunks for it. So I'm going to go try to see if I can do this or if I get stopped by a chunk. I'm guessing I won't get any Fashionscape out of the Easter event of all things, but hey, you never know. I haven't looked at it in a long time. All right, here's the Easter Bunny looking for his egg. This kid wants you to call him 11, 1, 14, 5, 12 because that's Canel and alphabet number chord. Incredible. Wow, they're making me do this. It just came out in the patch, so I have to actually figure it out. Happy Easter is my guess. All right, I got that based on HAP. Egg, silk, or secateurs? Wait, are we just doing it as a game here? Cutscene? Okay, nothing beats rock. You draw. My egg is hard-boiled and will smash your egg into pieces. This gave me a giant bronze dagger to beat him at rock, paper, scissors. Don't hit him with it, you'll kill him. Go show that boy some humility. Oh my god, this thing looks awesome. How much does this weigh? I guess people don't know yet. Is it on the wiki maybe? If it doesn't weigh anything, 30 kilograms. No, it's the same as the Colossal Blade. Otherwise, I would totally use that as Fashionscape while running around. Egg, silk, secateurs, or giant bronze sword. Giant bronze sword. What was that? That was a weapon that will slice your finely made silk, smash your hard-boiled egg, and separate your magic secateurs. You might be good enough to save Easter after all. Oh, I got real excited when he handed me chocolate dust, but it's Easter chocolate dust. Okay, that's probably fair. You don't want to ruin any restricted accounts with an Easter event. Turning in the last stage of the quest, I believe. Here we go. Giant bronze dagger, East floor spade, nest hat, and the old Easter items, which I'll check out at Diango later. The nest hat's pretty fun too. Might be a little too silly. Well, it's not too silly for Souls games. That item would 100% exist in a Souls game, but we'll see. Maybe in the distant future if it matches something else. I went to go restore my energy with the lumber drink. I could probably just bring that to Vedion or Calvarian. At max, I probably only need a single full energy restore to beat it, so it'd be nice to not actually use a limited resource like my strange fruits. All right, I'm over here at Diango. I just kind of want to see all of the Easter holiday items, if there's any of them I want to use. All right, shooting start time. This is a T3, which means it's, you know, I'm going to overmine it, but it's also immediately after the update, so it only lasts for a maximum of 90 minutes. So hopefully those two will work together here. I'm going to go back and look at the Fashionscape. I picked up some of these items. I don't think I'm going to end up using any. And the eggshell plate body it's a little much. The chicken costume, might actually be able to make the chicken costume work, but maybe without the helmet, it's still a bit much. We'll see. Oh my goodness, it's a dunce. Let's go. Thank you, Mr. Dunce. All right, we're gonna throw that on agility. I maybe could have saved that until actually running the agility laps, but that's okay. Someone mentioned this on an episode a while ago. They were like, why don't you use a Chronicle to go to the Champions Guild? And the reason is that the Chronicle costs 300 coins. And each teleport card costs 150 coins, which I can afford now, but way back in the day when I first rolled Draenor, this was exorbitantly expensive. I'm gonna go ahead and pick one up now, though. I will actually use it if I have it. I guess I'll just buy 10. Probably enough. I could see that being useful. Oh god, that's horrifying. Let's not do that one. The door is pretty funny. It's a little too pastel, but it does kind of look like a great shield. I actually really like the crate. They're definitely doing a Metal Gear Solid thing with this, but there are
very frequently PvP items in Souls games that let you turn into like a piece of furniture. So I don't know when I would use that, but it's cute. I actually kind of love this Bunny Man mask. Like, it looks so cool with the like old school RuneScape aesthetic. I can't make it work, I don't think. It would be funny if I had like a really badass, the rest of my outfit was badass looking and I had this like stupid helmet. It would be very on brand. I like this one for now. We'll see. Maybe I'll revisit the Bunny Man mask in the future. The way to make the bunny hat work, I'd have to actually have something that makes my character look naked. I don't know if there's any gear that does that. If I can get Varroc's chest piece, maybe I'll wear this with it, so I can effectively be shirtless but with a giant bunny hat. But for now, we'll go back to the Robe of Ruin. All right, got a star over here in the East Swamp. Oh my god, I'm getting a crazy run of dunces.
Dunce, 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 dunce.
So lucky, what the heck? I'll save this one. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to this book. After I finish up this star, I'll go run some agility courses and use it on agility after the fact, because I might actually get the level up and be able to squeeze a little bit more XP out of it. Oh, well, I'm mining the star. I'm looking at the new plugins on the plugin hub today, and there's one called Time Played, which lets me add my total time played onto the report button, which is really cool. I'm going to leave that there, so whenever you're seeing clips, you can see an update on time played. I think that'll be really cool. Another shooting star here. Let's go. All right, I don't like this skill book burning a hole in my inventory, so I'm going to do my agility grind here. Hopefully I can get a level between the Alcarid course and the Draenor course. Mark of Grace spawned on lap 10 here, which is unfortunate for the Alcarid course, but maybe we can make it up if we get lucky at the Draenor course. Last cycle I only got 2 laps of the Draenor course. All right, I am going to get the agility level up here. This is lap 11, and I still haven't seen the Mark of Grace spawn, so I think I'm about to hit the agility level here. Yeah, agility 45. Okay, we're never going to get to do that. This will now give slightly more XP, 675. Ended up getting 20 laps at Draenor, so that makes up for last cycle. Hopping into Fishing Trawler early this cycle, just in case I get lucky. All right, contribution done. I'm going to wait for a minute and a half. All right, what we get? Nope. All right, strapping in for my 20 minutes of Castle Wars AFK. All right, round complete. Another 3 tickets here. I'm just getting crazy genie luck lately.
Genie.
I will take another genie. Thank you very much for that lamp. Running away from the enemies real quick to use that genie lamp on agility, of course. Dunce, dunce, genie, genie, dunce. Yeah, it's been a great run of these, all on agility too. So defense level incoming. There it is. Defense 60. We're planning to do 6 more, I think. Well, just barely avoided a PK'er at the Elder Chaos Druids. Actually, the Chaos Druids that were there killed him for me. So maybe it was his first time trying to do that. I did get teleblocked, though. The first time that's happened in many, many cycles of killing Elder Chaos Druids. So I guess I've learned my lesson. I need to always bring a Ring of Dueling with me out there, since it is in teleport range. As soon as I see my screen flash yellow, just immediately teleport to Ferox. Working on a shooting star over here at the Champions Guild. There are 4 people at this star right now. You can't see them, but there are 4 people at this star right now. I guess one just stepped away for a second. It's really hard to get this star for much time because I guess people are teleporting to do farming runs all the time and just see it and bounce over. Oh my god, another genie! How does this happen?
Genie.
You know where it's going. I need to get out of here so I can use this lamp. This is completely nuts. Genie, genie, dunce, dunce, genie, dunce. Too bad that it's like not building toward, like this would have been a great run while I was working towards 17 Hunter. The amount of XP I'm getting for agility is pretty low right now. It's still pretty useful. I'm running low on Rings of Dueling, and I have 104 Emerald Rings, so I'm just going to start enchanting some of those. All right, so I ended up making like 54 more Rings of Dueling. That should last a really long time. Hopping into Temporos real quick, see if I get a lucky drop. 10 permits. Let's see what we get. All right, here goes. Nothing particularly exciting this cycle. Got to start Alcarid Bank. Who knows how long I'll be able to hold this. I can probably change my objective to end the series, either unlock all chunks 10,000 hours or get 2 hours at an Alcarid Bank star. Challenge level impossible. I don't think it'll ever happen. There's somebody. That didn't take long. I got a mining level up while I was AFK. 89 mining. Whoops. Got 5 nuggets on my first pull from Motherlode Mine, which is pretty solid. 6 is the average, although I think it's a little bit higher than 6 now with the new nodes they added. This is my last sack of pay dirt. Let's see what our total is here. It's 7. That's still pretty good. I think 7's probably our target now. Currently have 63 gold nuggets, so we're slowly marching there. Should get a fishing level here. There it is. Fishing 68. Now enter the fishing guild, which is important potentially, although the fishing guild teleport on the skills necklace is super janky. Hopefully we'll just roll near the fishing guild before the skills necklace is even chargeable. Over here in Soul Wars, getting absolutely blown out as usual, although I am doing my part here on the avatar, so we'll see how many points I get. And I dumped like 32 shards into the center. 36 zeal, which isn't bad for losing so heavily. Oh my gosh, I'm actually on the winning team for once. I'll take it. Okay, we won, and I got only 42 zeal. There must give you some amount of base or maximum points for fighting the avatar and different sets of points for doing other activities. That's okay, I still have 90, so I can get 3 spoils of war. I'll do that right now. All right, redeeming spoils of war. We want coal. We're here for coal. That's mithril. It's not coal. That's more mithril. Stop it. Okay, I'll take the nature runes. I will never use all of this mithril ore. It's impossible. I'll never get enough coal. There is a 750 coal drop from Barbarian Assault that could help me make a dent in that, but even with that, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and start planting my herb seeds. I haven't been, but I feel like I'm going to accrue too many that I won't be able to plant them in the future if I don't start planting them now. So I'm just going to hope that they grow and don't die with super compost. We'll see. Getting my wild blood hops for the first time. I'm going to plant one more set of them, and maybe I'll remember to plant more hops this cycle. We'll see. Heading into Puro here, I've actually been really lucky with surface young Implings. I've seen like 9 young Implings on the surface, but only 1 baby Impling. You're about to get a hunter level here if I can catch this baby Impling. There it is. Hunter 25. Now catch butterflies. 28 is the goal for gourmet Implings. Hey folks, it's Future Marstead here with a quick little ramble about Implings. I just published episode 46 and there was a comment from Grace Claw saying, hey, I think your Impling rules are against the spirit of the account. You are triple dipping. Now I want to make sure I fully address this, and I want to collect your feedback as the community as to what I should do. I will defer to whatever the majority of you say. If in the comments you all overwhelmingly say, no, you should change your Impling rules, I will abide by that, and I can make up for it by skipping Implings in cycles until I make up for the Implings I've already caught. But still, I'd like to restate my existing rules for Implings, explain why they are the way they are, and maybe try to defend that rationale. So when talking about this, I'm just going to completely ignore the static spawns in Puro for now. These are the locations that only ever spawn one kind of Impling. I think the way these are supposed to work is clear. Everybody agrees. There's no debate. What is a point of contention is the tiered Impling spawn tables. This information was only added to the wiki in the last few months. It's relatively new information. For a long time, Impling spawns were completely enigmatic. So it's only now that we can even really talk about this. The way it works is that on the surface there are multiple different spawn points that are able to spawn multiple different levels of Impling. The majority of these spawn points can potentially spawn any Impling, but there are about 10 spawn points in the game world that are only allowed to spawn low-tier Implings. Low tier is baby through eclectic. I discussed this system with my council of advisors before I hit Hunter 17, and we agreed that what made the most sense was that I could catch one of each kind of Impling from each of the spawn points per cycle. So for example, if we take the spawn point in Draenor Village, if we suppose that I'm 28 Hunter, which means I can catch up to gourmet Implings, I could catch a baby Impling in Draenor, a young Impling in Draenor, and a gourmet Impling in Draenor, even though they all come from the same spawn point. So why do we rule this way? There's a couple reasons. One of the Bonfire Man philosophy statements is to do as much content as possible. If something would cause us to skip content like a normal main account, we want to try to avoid that. We want to keep, chopping the regular trees into the late game. This is why we have the rule for farming patches that I'm allowed to plant one of each seed in each farming patch. If I was only ever allowed to plant one seed per cycle in farming patches, then I would only ever plant the highest tier seed available to me, which is pretty much how a regular non-restricted account does it. Similarly, if I'm only allowed to catch one Impling per spawn point, I'm only ever going to catch the highest tier Impling that's available to me and ignore all the other ones. There's also the problem that there isn't really any other content in the game that works like Implings. In general, in RuneScape, one spawn equals one entity. In the comments in episode 46, the Will of D brought up gem rocks and asked, well, if you're going to do that with Implings, what's stopping you from mining gem rocks until you get one of each kind of gem? My answer to that question is that I don't think gem rocks are analogous to Implings. If I wanted to mine gem rocks until I got one of each kind of gem, I would have to mine them dozens or potentially hundreds of times to eventually roll into one of each gem. I don't get to pick which gems I get, right? For gem rocks to be analogous to implings, there would have to be a random rock spawn that could either spawn a sapphire rock or an emerald rock or a ruby rock, and so on, and each of those rocks would have to have a unique object ID. So I agree, gem rocks, we're not going to be getting one of each kind of gem, for the same reason we don't kill an NPC until we get every item on its drop table every cycle. I see implings as being more like fishing spots. Remember, each fishing spot in the game has 2 tools that are associated with it. So the fishing spots in the Lumbridge Swamp, I can fish there with both a net and a fishing rod and bait. 2 different kinds of content that share the same spawn point. And again, if I didn't do that, then I would only ever fish for whatever the highest tier level of fish I could get from those spots would be, which would be against the philosophy of the account. Coming back to the Draenor Impling example, if a baby Impling spawns in Draenor and I tag it in Runelight to exhaust it and I catch it, and it happens to respawn as a baby Impling again, the baby Impling will already be tagged as exhausted because it's the same NPC ID. However, if instead of another baby Impling, a young Impling spawns, that young Impling will not already be tagged as exhausted because it's a completely separate, unique NPC ID. So I think that's another reason to catch one of each kind of Impling. And just to put all of this into perspective, just to kind of explain what difference this makes, if you're worried that me catching these extra Implings is going to, like, let me suddenly power level Hunter. For my account, currently, with my unlocked chunks and my access to Implings, the difference between these 2 rules is about 558 XP per cycle, or about 11 XP per hour. That is, if I keep my current rule set, I will get about 558 XP per cycle more than if I'm only allowed to catch one of each kind of Impling per spawn table. Obviously, that difference would grow as I hit higher Hunter levels, but at no point does it become a massive amount of Hunter XP. If you'll remember, Limpwort trained Hunter exclusively in Puro Puro, and it was a nightmare for him with infinite access to Implings. So anyway, that's my case. Feel free to comment below as to whether you think I should keep my current Impling rule or if you really think I should change it to one type of Impling per spawn. I feel pretty confident in my argument, but if the majority of you disagree and say, no, I really think you should change it, I will change it. I'll change it right away, and I'll make up for it by skipping the Implings I've already caught until we make up for the difference. Okay, thank you. Let's get back to the playthrough. Another Hunter level here once I catch this Impling anyway. There it is, Hunter 26, 2 to go. I got like 51 young Impling jars. I'm going to go ahead and open here, because why not? All right, open 69 young Impling jars. Nice. This is the payout. Both easy clue scrolls I couldn't do, so I dropped them. I don't know how much of this I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have a gap before I can do more shooting stars. So to make better use of the time, I'm going to start working through making longbows and training fletching. I still don't have enough banked XP to get fletching to 80, even if I were able to turn all of my arrow shafts into headless arrows. But we're starting to get close at 78, so I want to keep kind of working toward that. As soon as we get 80, that's going to be huge. Getting a magic short bow is a really big deal. Fletching, 72. All right, I'm here at the Falador farm trying to be better about planting more things per cycle. It looks like my Marintel actually survived here. I'm going to plant nasturtiums, get my scarecrow back, and guams, and I guess potatoes, because those are easy to protect. And hopefully once I have the nasturtiums down, I can plant something that nasturtiums protect. I think I get the scarecrow back when I remove it. I'm not 100% sure about that. Yes? Question mark? I do. Okay, that's good to know. All right, let me mark all these, and we'll come back to it. All right, the Marintels did not survive over here in Camelot, unfortunately. Let's get a level up here. Farming 48. Planted Crandorian hops for the first time. That's kind of expensive to protect, but I can always pick up the cabbages if I choose to plant these. Well, I knew I forgot something. I forgot to protect these potatoes, but I'm here to plant some watermelons since it looks like the nasturtium did grow successfully, and I guess onions. Falador patches worked out a little bit better. Since I don't have any more watermelon seeds, I'm just going to pick these nasturtiums and plant a limpwort seed. Well, my first attempt at growing limpwort failed. I'm going to try growing woad next. I think after getting that Calvarian drop with super compost that it's time for me to start planting as much as I can from farming every single cycle. Before I had a reasonable case that I was going to run out, but I have 160 super compost, so as long as this number doesn't like go under 50, I think I'll try to plant as much as I humanly can every single cycle. All right, harvesting these Crandorian hops, I'm going to replace them with Yanilian hops. Thieving 66. No big thieving objectives on the horizon now that we have 65, but I'm going to keep doing it. While I work my way through all these farming tasks, planted woad for the first time. Don't think I have any use for, but I'm gonna plant this strawberry without protecting it. I would need to spend apples on it, and I need to save apples for protecting trees. I only really get them from the Cook's Guild right now. Defense 61. Oh, and combat level 90. That spooks me every time. I got the toad flax, but lost some of the strawberries here. All right, I actually have 2 clue scrolls from killing men that I get to juggle. It's just easy clues, so it's nothing special, but see what happens here. Okay, well, the juggling didn't matter because the immediate next step I can't do, so drop that one. It's unfortunate. I got the step 4. I do not have the pink skirt or the pink robe top. Well, I have the pink skirt. I can get one. I don't have access to a pink robe top. That's in the Grand Tree. Whole lot of clue scrolls that require the shop in the Grand Tree, so getting there at some point would be really nice. All right, got a maze. Let's go. Haven't got one of these in a minute. I got 184 death runes, 276 steel arrows, so not the best maze random, but could have been worse. Okay, should get a defense level here. There it is, defense 62. All right, nearing the end of the cycle, I got Calphite Queen to kill here, so I'm gonna start working on that. Trigger into phase 2 here. That's it right there. Yep. I'm using a new tool for a visual metronome. It's a little bit less grating visually. It's helpful for me with my kind of shitty internet connection. All right. Nearing the end of this kill. This is a much easier form factor for me to see the flinch ticks safely. It's hard for me to do it while I'm talking, but I've managed to not drain all my prayer this time. I'm able to activate this, click it, and then deactivate it on the same tick instead of doing it too early. I still occasionally will miss a tick, which is why I'm not doing the fight caves, because like it's okay if I miss a tick with Calphite Queen because of Comcast lag. 100 buckets of sand. It's a little late for that, but it's actually not bad at all. Significantly more than I can buy from the charter ship. I can get like 10 of these per cycle, so that's actually not a bad drop. Neither is the super restore. If I keep getting super restores, that might increase the chance that I'll actually attempt the fight caves early. Got some interesting drops from my 4 Calphite Guardian kills. The 4th one only dropped coins, which I got picked up by the Ring of Wealth, so it doesn't show in the loot tracker there. But I got a Rune Chain Body and a Nature Talisman. All right, I still have a couple things to do. Barbarian Assault, that sort of a thing. But I'm going to go ahead and do Giant's Foundry now. We'll see if we can squeeze out 79 smithing. All right, turning in this sword should get me a smithing level, which will let me boost to buy another mold here. Smithing 79. Cool. And the mold I'm buying is the level 80 mold I can boost to. And that's light, so I will be using it for the commission they just gave me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another Dwarven Stout. I'll use that to buy it and immediately use it. Done. That's the one. That's a pretty good commission, 4220. This commission here is definitely the craziest one I've ever had. I had to boost for it for both Choppa and Spiker. So yeah, 38 plus 26. It's insane. This is a great cycle for smithing XP, 151k. I think I'm doing great on coins too. Don't think I can do anything else though right now. Yeah, I am out of bars, so that doesn't leave too much to do in the cycle. Pretty much just have to go to Barbarian Assault and Last Man Standing, so I'm going to start prepping for that here soon. I'm doing some fletching training here just because I need to waste time so I can finish getting the rest of my shooting stars. So I'm about to hit fletching 73. Oh my goodness, another genie. Thank you. So many of these lately. I'm not sure what all I was able to announce there. I had a moment where I couldn't record very much, but I need to finish up like 4 shooting stars at the end of the cycle here. I'm going to fill in time with fletching and cutting gems and that sort of a thing until I get all the stars. Basically everything else is done except for Barbarian Assault, and I got this genie lamp that I'll throw on agility now that I can record. There we go. About to get another fletching level here. It's real slow. Thousands and thousands of oak logs per level up. Fletching 74. 4,566 more logs to get to 75, which I do have. Well, I'll keep going for that right now. I just need the AFK to get some editing done, and I have to wait until I can finish up my remaining shooting stars. Oops. I still have one in the Alcarid Mine, the Edgeville Ditch, and Port Khazard before I can close out the cycle. I am up early this morning, really trying to just finish up mining. I have a few more shooting stars to clear up, apparently making up for my extremely lucky cycle last cycle in terms of getting lots of 2-hour stars with getting interrupted on every star here. It is 3:30 in the morning my time, which is pretty far off peak for shooting stars, and I'm over here at the Port Khazard mine that no one should have any reason to be running past. This person was running past, they like teleported to a fishing trawler and they were running to Yanil or Nightmare Zone or something and just stopped and said, oh, a star, and went and got a pickaxe, which, good for them, they found a star, but it, cuts the AFK from 2 hours to 80 minutes. All right, so I still have a couple stars left, but I want to see how close I am to 80 crafting because it'll change up my strategy of what I'm going to do when I need AFK time. So I'm going to buy gems here and see what it tells me in the XP tracker. Here are the guide prices for these gems. Like I said, still 2 stars to go, but I'm going to pop these in the bank and see what it does to my banked XP calculator here. We're on crafting. So with currently banked stuff, it projects me getting to 78. I expect this isn't to boost me up to 79, but still pretty far from 80, but let's see. 79 with 51k to go. Can I make up the difference there? Oh, if I make every last leather item, it still doesn't get me there. All right. Well, I'll reevaluate once I get the rest of my Stardust for this cycle. But it also might just make sense for me to wait for next cycle because I should be able to very cleanly get it there without having to make a bunch of miserable leather items. That said, I probably should transition off of using fletching to kill time and use gem gutting because we're close enough now that make a dent in some of these sapphire and emerald stocks here. All right, having trouble finding the last couple shooting stars here, so I'm going to try to squeeze in some Barbarian Assault between now and the next wave. Too early in the morning for Barbarian Assault. I might try coming down next wave, but nobody's here right now. I just had my spacebar weighted down. Crafting 75. I managed to pull my phone off my spacebar this time. Crafting 76. There it is. Got the Wilderness Shooting Star here. Unfortunately, it is on the public scope, so I might not get 2 hours out of it. We'll see. Actually got the full 2 hours out of the star. Absolutely wonderful. All right, this is my last shooting star for the cycle. Close to wrapping up here. Shockingly, I got a full 2 hours that one too. I'm going to turn these Stardust in and see if it's enough gems to cleanly get me to 80. All right, getting all the gems I can here. Don't think it's going to be quite enough to squeeze out 80 crafting, but we'll see. All right, without banking anything, it projects 79. After I bank this stuff, still projects 79, but within 8k. So I could probably get there if I'm willing to, if I make the leather. So I might not do that this cycle. I might save that as AFK for next cycle. If I don't have access to shooting stars, it'll be something to do while I work on editing. Next cycle for sure, we're going to get an Amulet of Glory, and I'll try to do that before I start doing combat next cycle. At farming 49, I got a lot of farming XP this cycle by planting everything I possibly could. I needed a lot of things. I needed lots of law runes. I needed lots of super compost, and I have all of that now, finally. It's later in the day. Let's try this Barbarian Assault thing again. All right, we had a successful run with me on Healer. Here are the points in the top left corner. I got to do probably 2 more games. I probably can't make it happen in just 1 more game. Well, I had a team disband, but at least we made it to wave 7, so I can do my 2 annoying low and medium gambles. I'm going to do those real quick. Just burn Healer for the medium gamble and Attacker for the low gamble. Medium, Healer, come on, give me something good. Rune Battle Axe, that's new. I don't think it's helpful. I can do the math on it, but I think it's quite a bit worse than the Colossal Blade, even though it has the same speed. And let's do the low gamble. I promise there's really good stuff you can get from these. I just haven't been lucky lately. 20 Toad Flax. It's the second time I've gotten Toad Flax from that. Not getting the good shit. Had a rough round there. I had to teach the Defender how to do Defender. I had to switch roles at the end, so I'm gonna have to do 1 more round on Collector to get to 500. But I got some bonus healer points at the very end. I'm out of time for my session today, so hopefully I'll come back on in a few seconds from your perspective, finish this up, and then finish up the couple things over here on the right. Ended up doing an entire round on Attacker that I didn't really need. I really need Collector, but I guess it'll be points for next cycle. I'm on Attacker again here. This should get me to 500 theoretically. Well, I had to be the jerk and bail on that group because it was double Collector, and I kept asking them, can we please pause and swap? Can we please pause and swap? And they wouldn't. The Defender didn't know what they were doing, and the Healer didn't know what they were doing. So I had to be the one to leave. I really try not to do that. I try to work with them, but if they're just not being responsive, you know. Fortunately, I have 500 points in Attacker, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that on my high gamble here. I really hope we get something good here finally. Gambles have been really underwhelming so far. 22 Ranars. I'm gonna get these novice and intermediate pest control runs done real fast. And I've got some construction to do and then LMS and then we're done. All right, novice lander down. Let's go over to intermediate. We died in the intermediate lander because no one was killing the spinners. It's so frustrating. I was trying to do it, but there's too many of them for me to do it alone. About to get a defense level up in here. Defense 63. Okay, I think I got the points there. There we go. 4 Void Knight commendation points. 21 total. Okay, I finally have it down to just last man standing left. So here is the supplies tracker. I went crazy on law runes. Almost all of those got fed into doing farming runs and just kind of teleporting around to make my life easier. We'll see if I come up. I think I'm going to come up even on law runes because of the Sudoku box, but maybe I should be a little careful. All right, 4 points in the first game, 3 to go. And I got 2 points last game, so I'm up to 6. I got 1 kill in the next game, so that should be enough that... Oh, well, this person's going to kill me, and then I'll be exactly 7 points. Don't ask me how I did it, but I managed to shuck and jive that other player. I think the way I did it is that the other player was also trying to hide. Well, I managed to kill someone else towards the center, and this person's almost certainly going to kick my ass, though. They've got better gear than I do, and I'm not paying attention, so I'll just let them take me out here. All right, 10 points again. It's 3 over what I normally get. So I have so many adamant arrows now. I can show you how many I have. I have 23,000 adamant arrows. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start saving my LMS points. I can always redeem them for more adamant arrows if I need them later. Originally, I was planning to switch to range training like probably next episode once I got the 66 defense. But now with pest control, I want to try to get to 100 combat, which means I want to stay on melee. So I'm probably going to switch back to attack until 80 and then defense until 80 and keep range as a far off distant objective. So in that case, I don't need to keep building up a core of addy arrows. There's really nothing else in the shop that I care about, even if I went to crazy and saved for dozens of cycles. There's the magic shortbow scroll once I can make a magic shortbow, but that's still a little ways off. Yeah, the only thing on this list that it might be worth saving for is the swift blade, but the swift blade only matters in very specific content that I don't currently have access to, right? It's like the ham joint and it has an attack speed of 3, but it's a melee weapon. So it'd be nice in Theater of Blood, but I don't know if I'll ever do Theater of Blood on this account. In either case, I think it's probably smart for me to just hold on to my points for now. I can dump them into rune arrows for alking if I end up being completely fine on adamant arrows, and I can always convert them into adamant arrows if I need them. So I'm going to start hoarding LMS points. All right, folks, I think I'm going to do this summary in the Rogue's Den from now on because random events can spawn here, and there's a nice little fire right in front of me. And I like the look of it. Time played, 53 days, 7 hours. You can see that converted to hours down here, 1279.09. Live split timer took us 60 hours, 53 minutes for this cycle. A lot of that was the extra time I spent fletching and gem cutting, and I expect I'm going to do a bunch more gem cutting next cycle to get to 80 crafting to make an Amulet of Glory before PDM. Looking at the task list over here, just going to click through these really fast. Feel free to pause if you're interested in any of this. I added soil as tasks. I'll probably do that in future cycles, although some of it I'm going to make optional, like the level 0 soil. This will be my last cycle skipping the Dwarven Stout and Wizard Mind Bomb. I'll have made up for it by now. LMS points is done. Always the last thing I do. I did overkill a Chaos Druid, and I don't know how this happened, but it happened, so I'll fix it. One of these cycles I'm going to have 0 errors, but it turns out 61 hours is really easy to misclick once. Or 11 times in that case. I'm going to be opening up Implings to discussion. Like you heard in my ramble earlier, I actually was editing this video while recording it, which is very strange for me. I've gone back and forth a bit with the original commenter, and I don't think we've really landed on a agreement. I'm going to keep doing it this way for now, because I can always go back and fix it later if I do too much. I can't go back and fix it later if I do too little. So in this video, please post in the comments what you think I should do about Implings based on that earlier ramble, and I will abide by, you know, what the majority of the community says. Did a lot of farming this cycle, did as much as I possibly could. If I didn't do farming here, it's probably because I didn't have the seeds for it, or I'm trying to save the seeds like my Ranars, or because I couldn't get to the weeds. I didn't decide to do berries. I can probably start doing that next cycle, because I need to like harvest it immediately after I pick it, otherwise I get double XP out of it. So I'll harvest the Jankerberry and then immediately dig it up and plant the other ones. Here's the loot log. Scroll through this here. Give me a second to set up XP. All right, here's the XP gain for the cycle. Mining is the highest as always, though it's, we'll see in a second, a bit down. Spent a bunch of time on crafting and fletching. I'm probably going to redirect all that energy into crafting to get to 80 next cycle. Smithing was great this cycle. We got so many bars, and a lot of that was from finding all of those plate bodies in the soil in the dig site, which I'm probably going to make myself do from now on. A lot of the narrative here makes more sense if I show you the delta. So this is the change between the XP gain this cycle versus last cycle. There's the delta. Crafting and fletching way up. Defense is up because we've switched to it. I got an extra almost 11,000 farming XP, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of the account, but it's a lot in terms of getting me to crucial level thresholds now. So I will probably continue to try to do as much farming as I can humanly get away with now that I have the law runes and the super compost to fund it. Thieving is down a bunch because I over pickpocketed guards last cycle and I made up for it in this cycle. So those two things combined net minus 5,600 or so XP. And then mining is down by about 45k, and that's just from getting unlucky with running into other people at shooting stars. The random event list was crazy. We got so many genies and dunces this run here. All of that went on agility, which has a lot to do with the spike in agility XP. Looking at the bank, lots of new items this cycle, most of them random garbage from the dig site and the exam center. I'm just going to move through most of those. Some Easter event stuff, most of which I'll probably drop just to save bank space. I got my scarecrows back. I'll just keep a placeholder for those in the future. Woad leaves, wild blood hops, Crandorian hops. I'm actually using the Chronicle now, although I have to be careful because there's a finite number of those cards that I can buy. So eventually I'm going to run out. I'm tracking that shop stock. Lockpicks, Steel Warhammer, Super Restore. This is just, I need to decant these potions down to 1. And the Rune Battle Axe, which I don't think has a use case for this account, unfortunately, other than to eventually be melted down into the Giant's Foundry once I get to 85 smithing. The vast majority of this stuff is garbage, so I'm going to try to delete as much of it as I can here. All right, it's all cleaned up. Let's do the bank scroll. And finally, the bank delta. This is the change from last cycle. We are up a net 8 law runes despite using so many law runes for teleports. So that was the main thing I wanted to look at here in the delta. You saw that we're actually up 95k coins. That includes all of the spending we did this cycle on shops and that kind of a thing. So that's reassuring to see. That is it, though. Let's go ahead and roll a new chunk. Okay, we are back here in the chunk roller. No real change from last episode because the exam center wasn't adjacent to anything that's actually rollable. This is Mauritania, which we have to get to from up here. So the discussion from last episode still applies. By far, the most important chunk here is South Taverley. We have about a 1 in 50 chance of rolling it, which is... Like I said, we've been going dry on Paterdomus for over 1,000 hours now, I think. That's been available to roll for an extremely long time, and we've never rolled it. So I just pray that doesn't happen to us here. Other chunks are interesting, but this thing actually changes everything. So without further ado, let's roll it.
Random event spawn.
Oh, a genie spawned. Hold on. Feldip Coast. So we do that way. Thank you. I will just save that for next cycle, I guess. I'll use it right away at the beginning. West Feldip Coast. I'm guessing that's a reroll chunk. Yeah. No monsters, no spawns, just dead trees and regular trees. I guess I'll go there and chop the trees really fast, and then we'll roll another one. Okie doke, here we are at the East Feldip Coast chunk. Let's cross the fog wall. New music track, Soundscape. Okay. So we definitely haven't been in here before, and I just have a handful of trees to chop here. Pretty good song. I don't know if I've heard this before. I'm curious if it only spawns on this weird, like, coast chunk, or if it is also the music that's over there. A bird nest there on my last chop there. I think that's everything. Let me just check that my counts are right. Yeah, I chopped a total of 26 trees, and this says 26 trees. So victory achieved. This weird coast chunk is done, and we can skip everything here in the future. Let's go back in the chunk picker and roll another one here. All right, so rolling that means I can now roll this chunk, Westfeldup Hills, which has swamp bubbles and ogres in it, so that would not be a reroll. I'll categorize it later. And then this one, the Corsair Resource Area, which as far as I know doesn't have anything new. I don't think jungle trees are actually a thing. It does have some trees that would be nice to exhaust, but none of them are new resources. I guess it connects to the Corsair Cove dungeon? Oh, there's ogresses in there. Assuming they count as ogres, that would be new, technically. Let me check these ogres, because that's a Slayer task that I haven't unlocked yet. They are a Slayer task, so that's fine. That will also not be a reroll if we get it. I'm just going to mark both of these with Slayer to mean there's a new Slayer monster there that makes it not a reroll. All right, well, you already heard me talk about the rest of this, so let's pick chunk again. South Taberley, please. I think that's a reroll. Yeah. There's spiders there. A single coal rock. Might be one of the only players to ever mine that coal rock. Oaks, rocks, trees we've already seen before. Yeah. So let me just confirm that the spiders aren't special. I don't think they are. So jungle spiders are a Slayer task, but we already have access to spiders outside Lumbridge, so this isn't a new Slayer monster. The spider carcass is not a significant new resource. So I've been staring at the screen for a while, and this sucks a lot, but I don't think I can weasel my way out of this. The jungle spiders on Hazelmere's Island drop spider carcasses, which are in fact a new cooking resource, in that you could make spider on a stick, spider on a shaft. Now I can't do spider on a stick because I don't have access to skewer sticks, but I do have access to arrow shafts. And the letter of the law that I wrote down is that if something drops new skilling resources previously unavailable, then it contributes to needing to light a bonfire in that chunk. Unfortunately, this is a really horrible skilling resource. It's not a significant amount of cooking XP. There's not a significant enough number of spiders to make it matter, and I already had access to spiders as a Slayer task, but I cannot come up with a way to weasel my way out of this. I think we have to go light a bonfire on Hazelmere's Island. I think I marked this as a reroll and error, just assuming the jungle spiders were boring. I thought maybe I'd get lucky and have already encountered jungle spiders here on the volcano, but I did not. And the thing that sucks is I think every other chunk that has jungle spiders in it has some other piece of new content that would force a bonfire roll anyway, so it's not like doing it now is going to save me a bonfire later. It's just unlucky that we rolled this chunk before these chunks. Is this going to be a problem again? Are there other things on the food table? I haven't encountered rabbits yet, right? So rabbits technically count. Yeah, cooking rabbits. I haven't encountered snails, so they would force a bonfire if I keep it this way. Giant crab meat, apparently. Where do you even get crab meat from? Okay, Mogre Camp, which I'll probably force one anyway. I don't think I can weasel my way out of this one. I think this has to be a bonfire. One of the most boring bonfires ever, but it's a bonfire. That's a new jungle spider. It drops a jungle carcass. 50 more hours of this place without a reroll, sadly. It does make Yanil rollable next time we can roll, which is potentially interesting. I don't think I can do anything at the Nightmare Zone, but the Wizard's Guild is interesting, and some other stuff over there is interesting. So yeah, this is more than a little of a bummer, unfortunately. You know, shit happens. Episode 50, the end of Season 1 is going to take place on this boring-ass chunk that represents my integrity. I'll see you next episode, everybody. Thanks for watching.